Hi, Carol Riggenbach here. I wanted to talk to you today about the ER visit that we all have in our future. We do. Whether it's going to be with a child, with another family member, with a parent, with an elderly person, a neighbor, whether it's there for ourselves. We are all going to end up in an ER room at some point, and some of us may be facing that a lot closer into the future than others. So what I want to do today is I want to make sure that you're prepared for that ER visit. Let's face it, you don't need to be playing defense. You need to be playing offense. The ER visit and what you've got in your future with care and what's happening maybe with an elderly parent or with yourself, if you're caring for someone who's aging, you have got to be prepared when you hit that ER, and for lots of reasons. For one thing, do you want to end up with a big, huge bill? Do you want to end up getting the best care you possibly can in the ER? Do you want to connect with the physicians and the nurses the best way that you can so that you're the most effective? Do you want to get back home? Right? We all do. We end up in the ER, we're wanting to get back home. And we're wanting to get home as fast as we can. Now, sometimes we may not be able to get home right away, but we need to be ready to be able to make that transition home. And how we interact and how we manage that ER is going to mean everything. So there's a couple of things that you need to be prepared with when you hit the ER. Again, we're going to play offense. I'm going to teach you how to play offense, and you don't just have to, one day I'm going to hit the ER and then woe is me, what are we going to do? And you're all in this panic and there's a tiz. There's no sense in that. That's ridiculous. I see people being a lot more successful when they hit that ER with offense. And very few people think you can hit the ER in an offensive mode. We all tend to think that we just got to play defense when we hit there. However, that's not true, especially when you're an aging person or you're taking care of an aging person where you're just wondering, well, what's going to happen the next time I hit the ER? Am I going to end up in a nursing home, or what's going to happen to me? Okay, so what you need to do, first of all, you need to make sure that if you're going to get to the ER, you got to have somebody with you. If at all possible, family, make sure you're there with your parent, your loved one. An ER is traumatic. It's a whirlwind of stuff. And as we get older, we process things slower because, honestly, I don't think it's because we're slower and dumber. I think it's because we have a life full of experience that we're calculating through all of this stuff in our head about what we've been through in the past. And so those of us that are older have a lot more to process and to get through to come to a conclusion. What is this like I faced in my past, so I can try to handle this right now where I'm at in this present moment. So if at all possible, have someone with you, and family member, just be there. When you get in there and you're talking with the physician and talking to the nurses, trust that they care. They're not doing that job because they get a ton of money and because they got all kinds of glory. Sure, they get a little bit of that, but good grief, they deserve so much because honestly, the ones that pour into us and take really good care of us are going above and beyond. And they're just like everyone else. They all come to their job with all the stresses of life and all the cares at home. But when they get to their job, they even have to pour out their heart even more. So caregivers are huge caregiving people. And when I say caregivers, I mean physicians and nurses, all these people, the lab people that are coming to you. So the biggest thing to know is have faith in them that they care, number one. Now, whether you think they're competent or not, that's a whole nother issue. But if you can come to the conclusion in your mind, and if you face them, that they care about me, then when you go to interact with them, then you're going to actually believe that they might have your best interest at heart, and maybe they're not the smartest or the brightest, and they may need some more skill sets. Nevertheless, if they've got somebody that they can work with, they can do wonders. If they have to fight against you and you don't trust them, then that puts them in a really bad place. And honestly, you don't need that. You need the team working together, and you're part of that team. All right. So Have faith that they care, number one. Then secondly, you need to find out, okay, what's the status? So if you're going to be let go, if you're going to be able to leave the ER, great. Then you had a stay. They were able to take care of things. But one thing I would say is that you might have gotten discharged with maybe them not noticing something and catching something in the CAT scans, the labs, the MRIs, all the testing that they did. They were trying to diagnose you with something, and maybe something got by. Maybe you have a hairline fracture because of that fall, and it's not showing up on the scans. So go home, and person who's helping this elderly person and elderly person when you're at home, pay attention. Pay attention. Don't think you just got out of that ER and now you don't need, oh, woohoo, everything's fine. Well, there's a reason why you ended up in that ER in the first place. That something was going on. And so maybe you're through it. Maybe there's nothing to worry about. And I'm certainly not trying to plant worry. I do not believe in worry whatsoever. But again, we're talking about playing offense, okay? So you need to go home and watch yourself. Be careful. Pay attention for the next probably 72 hours, okay? 24 hours by the time the next day and the next day and the next day. With the next 3 days, pay attention what's going on. And family member, watch them. Pay attention, okay? Then, so you didn't get out of the ER. You are in the ER. The physicians and the nurses, the lab people, they found something, and they're trying to figure out what to do. What they're going to do is they're going to do a couple of things. Once they decide that you do need to stay, they're going to, number one, possibly put you under observation. Okay, observation, and they'll take you up to a hospital bed and put you in. The hospital bed, first, second, third floor, whatever. And you get into the hospital bed and you think you might be admitted, but you need to know. Medicare, people who are on Medicare, you need to know, all right? You need to know if you're under observation or inpatient. Okay? That's just bottom line. You need to know that. Are you there for them to observe you? Did they admit you under observation or inpatient? You need to ask that question, okay? The reason why I say that is because if you have Medicare benefits, and here I'm talking about older folks, and you probably do, even if you have an Advantage plan, okay, you need to know if you're under observation or inpatient, because observation will put you into a holding, so to speak. It's going to put you into a holding where you are not going to have your 3-day qualifying hospital stay. Fancy words for if you want your Medicare benefits in a rehab center, any sort of, they call them healthcare resorts now, all kinds of stuff, but basically a place where you're going to go rehab before you go home. You're going to get PT, OT, speech, you're going to get those things. But before you can have Medicare, pay 100% for those first 20 days in that rehab center. The first thing you've got to do is you have got to have a 3-night hospital stay, okay? And if you have a night that you're in observation, and so the next morning you wake up the next day and you're like, oh, okay, so now I guess I'm going to have to go to a rehab center, a healthcare resort, and I'm going to go get therapy so I can get stronger so I can go home and beat this thing. Well, then you find out, well, last night didn't count, okay? Last night was an observation night, and you've got to face 3 more days in the hospital. And honestly, and this is not to be disrespectful to the hospital or any of the staff, but none of us, not even the physicians or the nurses, want to stay in the hospital, spend the night for 4 nights. And everyone knows you don't either, okay? So you've got to pay attention to that observation or inpatient, because you have to be inpatient. You have to be classified as an inpatient, not under observation, to get your 3-night hospital stay, okay? So you've had that 3-night hospital stay. Or let's go back. You're on day 1, and person who's with this elderly person, what you need to be doing, if you haven't already done it, and some people have, they've done their homework. Again, it's playing offense. And when you're watching this, you might be thinking about this ER trip in your head, about what you need to do to get ready for this ER trip. Because what did I say at the beginning? I guarantee you've got one in your future. Absolutely. Okay? And you know it too. So what you do on that first day, you know, mom, your friend, your neighbor, dad, your wife, your spouse is sitting in the hospital and they're going to have 3 nights. Where are you going to go? Where's the rehab center? What, have you picked one out? Do you have one that's going to be next to you? Are you going to have to drive a ways? Do you live in a rural area? Do you live in the city? Do you have all kinds of options, or do you have hardly any options? Today, you need to go shopping, okay? You need to go look, unless you've already done it and you already have this figured out. But you do not need to wait for day 3 when the discharge planner comes into the hospital that morning, and they're so busy. They're so very busy. They may not have time to tell you all these things, and they've just got all these demands. You don't need that 3rd morning, and they're saying, okay, we're discharging you today, out. Because you know that they're on demand too. Medicare doesn't pay for a whole lot of time in the hospital. That hospital has to be cranking us out of there, right? We're not going to stay and sit there. Not that we want to anyway. So you have got to do your homework and have a place already picked out. So don't be doing that the last day. You'll be in a scramble. It won't be good, okay? Because you're trying to get mom's things from the house and all this stuff. So do your homework. Walk in the rehab centers. I can't stress that enough. You can't just go shopping online. You can't. On the websites, I've been a nursing home and assisted and a home care operator and owner for 25 years, okay, and a caregiver. I know darn well what the websites look like, and how the pictures and how we market things. We're just like everybody else. We're trying to market our product. We're trying to sell that we're the best and all. But I'll guarantee you, just like when you go into your friend's house or your neighbor's house or wherever you go, once you walk into that, you have a sense. You have a feeling that this fits us or it doesn't, okay? And don't just go to the first one and decide, oh yeah, this one's good. This is fine. We don't need anything else. If you possibly can, if you have a couple of options in your area, go to both of them, okay? You need to go to both of them. Number one, the reason why you need to go to both of them is that you need to know if it's the best one or not. But I dare say, when you've got some cognitive dissonance, you've put mom in there or your spouse, and then you're going, well, I don't know, maybe I made the wrong decision. Oh, shoot, maybe I should have picked that other one. No. You don't need that. Neither does your loved one. Neither does that elderly person who's trying to kick this thing and get out. Okay? So you need to go shopping at least 2 places so that you have something to compare and contrast to go, yep, okay, I know what I'm doing. Because you're not going to just get it after the first one. Okay? All right. Then you've got the place picked out. We also realize that what you're going to have to do is you're going to have all the stuff that mama's going to need, or your spouse or whatever, the toothbrush, the toothpaste and all that. And you can be doing that as time goes on during this hospital stay too. But when you get into that healthcare resort, that rehab center, that's the place to play nice again. Okay? And that's why when you go back to doing your homework, once you get a sense of what it feels like, you've done the tour, or you've walked in on the weekend, you've walked in the evening, you've met the personal care providers, you've met the CNAs, the nurses, you've said hi, you walk in there with a sense of expectancy that, you know what, this is going to be a good place, and I'm going to start building these relationships now. Because after all these years of doing this and being through the Eden Alternative and Culture Care, and all of you who may have been in this world knowing all those terms, but I tell you what I have gotten to is that it's important that we do a relationship-centered care. You'll hear about person-centered care and all this stuff, and I agree with absolutely. I've done all that. I've won awards. Amen. But the longer I do this, the more I understand it's relationship-centered care. And I don't care if you're in a 1-star place or a 5-star place, okay? You have got to build relationships with those caregivers, because I'll guarantee you there's some good people in that place, and they can take good care of you and your mom, your spouse. You have to connect with them. You have to have faith in them. And once you do that, once you water them with that trust, and you water them with that sense of you're in it together, and you're not coming at them, accusing them, suspecting them of they're not going to do their job, and all this attitude, this negative energy and negative attitude, you're going to see this person, these caregivers, blossom. Because you know what? there's not many people watering them. There's not many people giving them encouragement. And guess what happens? When you're the one giving them encouragement and you're the one blessing them and making their day brighter at their job, guess what they're going to do? They're going to want to be with your mama. They're going to want to be with you. You know, when you punch that button and you need them to come, are they going to come? Yeah, because they like you, because you're nice to them. You're not beating them up. Okay? So, anyway, that's just another soapbox, but you get what I'm saying. So, relationship-centered care is something that is so important. And as we move forward in a lot of this elderly care world, and as our aging population comes on, we can do this. There's no reason why we can't build relationships with each other and take good care of each other, one person at a time. All right? So now you've built that relationship up, and now mama's moving in, or spouse, whoever you're caring for. Then what you do is you walk closely with the administrator, with the director of nursing, the MDS coordinator, minimum data set coordinator, okay? Those people, and your therapist, those people are all making decisions, all right? They're the ones deciding what's going to happen. How long are you going to stay? Now, they have rules that they have to follow. They have a ton of rules. Oh my gosh. I could stack them on my desk a mile high, okay? They go on forever. And those rules have good intention, and good people have put those rules in, but honestly, it's too much. And that's why nursing homes are expensive, okay? So, but nevertheless, they've got all that to go through. They have all these things that they're supposed to do. And God forbid if they don't dot every I and cross every T, the government's going to come after them. Anyway, they're going to get in trouble, okay? So they're chasing their tail as fast as they can. However, the best thing for you to do is to understand what's the next thing. What's next. And when you're in that rehab center, the next thing you're going to do once you get there is you're going to have a bunch of paperwork to do. They're going to ask you a lot of questions. Stay connected with them. Stay connected and ask them when they go through things, what's next. They may not think to tell you, but don't think that's because they don't care. It's just because they're drowning. To be honest, the margins, the operating margins in these businesses in the nursing home world is thin. It's very narrow. Operators or ownership doesn't have a whole lot of money to be hiring a whole lot of people in nursing homes, to be honest with you. With Medicare reimbursement and Medicaid reimbursement, it's just not there. Okay, so these people that are working there are working, doing a lot, and wearing a lot of hats and getting a lot done. And you've seen that. You can make their job so much easier, and you can just really be a ray of sunshine in their life, let alone they'll turn around and give you a ray of sunshine like you won't believe. Oh my gosh. You'll just see them just blossom and just brighten up when you believe in them. All right. So ask them, what is the next step, in a kind way, in that relationship centered way, okay, that you want to help them, okay? You want to help them get through this process of taking care of you, because you don't know what you're doing, okay? But they want you to know, and they want to teach you. So when you're receptive, you're going to have fun. That's the other thing I want to make sure that you approach all this with, lucky you. Lucky you. If you're with an elderly person, that you get to walk this road with them, it is not a burden. It's not a burden. All right. That's another thing I'll probably do a YouTube video on. You're going to look back in years from now, and you're going to be so glad you got to spend that time with that person. It's all how you perceive it. And if you go into it like this is the worst thing that's ever happened to you, and oh, this is terrible, then I have to say that you're going to struggle. But if you go into it with, wow, check that out, I got off work because mom landed in the ER. So now all these people at my job are helping me out and covering for me and taking good care of me so I can take care of my mama. How exciting is that? That you have a chance now to be with her. Where before she ended up in the ER, you had to struggle, you had to get home, you got to cook supper, you have all these demands on you, and then mom's another demand or whatever. But now your world gets to slow down because you have other people who are going to support you. So slow down and breathe and enjoy. What I tell families, you know what? It's just better just to buckle your seatbelt. You may be on a roller coaster and you feel like it, but just buckle your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Just enjoy it. You're going to one day be really, really glad you did, especially as you listen to your friends, especially as you're 80 years old, 90 years old, and you're sitting around a table having coffee, having breakfast with your friends, and they're all talking about the time that they spent with their mother in the last days. You're going to have really good memories of your mom, your spouse, whoever it is that you're going to be with, because we're all headed there, and we will remember what it was like, and we're going to be glad we faced it with good things are going to happen. Good things are coming. We may not understand everything that is happening at that very moment but just know that you're going to meet a lot of good people and everything's going to be okay. It'll all turn out the way it's supposed to, and you're going to grow. Your mama, it's all going to be good. All right. I hope that was helpful today. I know it's kind of long, 20 minutes. Okay. All right. Thank you.